Check. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, good morning and welcome to this insightful public lecture on strengthening education collaboration between Indonesia and Ukraine, opportunities and challenges. It is a privilege to have you all here today as we will explore the crucial intersection of education and collaboration between our two nations. We are honored to have us here distinguished speakers who brings the wealth of expertise of this topic. Mr. Ambassador, our keynote speaker, Dr. Fasil Hamianin, the Ambassador of Extraordinary Plenipotentiary of Ukraine to the Republic of Indonesia. Good morning, Mr. Selamat pagi. Wilujeng Sumping. And of course, our insightful lecturer, Mr. Teguh Reza Shah, PhD. Good morning, Mr. Selamat pagi, Pak. Of distinguished lecturer from Department of International Lecture. Before we started, we invite you all attendees to stand up to sing our national anthem together. Please welcome to sit again. And now I invite Professor Dr. Widya Setiabudi Sumadinata, the Dean of Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Universitas Pajajaran, to opening speech this international lecture. Professor Widya, we welcome you to the stage.
Excellencies, okay. Ambassador Fasil, Pak Dr. Tukur Ijazah, Ibu Wakil Dekan Profesor Ida, Pak Kepala Departemen Dr. Arvin, Bapak Ibu dosen, guru besar, Ketua Departemen, dan tentu saja para mahasiswa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. It is a great honor for me to welcome you all this morning to the lecture today in our campus in Universitas Pajajaran. I welcome Excellencies Dr. Fasil, it is hard, Hamianin, Ambassador Ukraine for Republic of Indonesia in Jakarta. Thank you to give a lecture in our campus, and welcome to para guru besar and our students. And ladies and gentlemen, we want a free, peaceful, and prosperous world, and I sure that through advance in science and technology we can achieve this situation, this condition, free, peaceful and prosperous world. And today, scientific and technology progress has reached an extraordinary stage that was never imagined before. The development of, for example, artificial intelligence technology, for example, has had a drastic impact on human life. But of course, we also understand that advance in science and technology always have both positive and negative impact. Therefore, advance in technology and science must be accompanied by strong morals and human integrity. Currently, Ukraine is one of the destination countries for Indonesia students, although it may not be as popular compared to Western European countries. Ukraine produced the fourth highest number of higher education graduates in Europe, while ranked 7 in populations, and the high percentage of well-educated graduates is a testament to the outstanding quality and leading states of Ukraine bachelor program. I believe that good long-term higher education cooperation between the two countries is one way to get to know, understand, and support each other between the two countries. Ladies and gentlemen, Ambassador Fasil will give lecture about bilateral relations between Indonesia and Ukraine, and maybe some of us do not Ukraine well, and I hope that the audience, especially students, can take advantage of the discussion to know about Ukraine more. And I would like to thank to the organizing committee, especially Pak Cecep. Where is Pak Cecep? Oh yeah. And then also Miss Stiplana Koftum, yes, who made this event possible. I also thank to Pak Dr. Reza and Pak Dr. Gilang as responder and moderator. And I hope today's lecture will be useful and interesting for us. And thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Let's give a big round Okay, and now I would introduce you the moderator of this session, Dr. Gilang Nur Alam, a lecturer of International Relations Department at Universitas of Pajajaran. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit of Dr. Gilang background. Dr. Gilang finished his bachelor degree in Unpad as a Bachelor of Art, majoring in International Relations. He then continued his master degree in Master Program of Social Science, majoring in Medical Anthropology at Leiden University, the Netherlands. And lastly, he finished doctor degree here in Unpad. And for Dr. Gilang Nur Alam, we welcome you to the stage for starting the discussion. Please big round of applause, please.
Oke, tes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wilujeng enjing Bapak, wilujeng sugeng rawuh kalau kata bahasa Jawanya. I would like to apologize if during the session I use mixed bahasa ya, mixed language between bahasa and English and bahasa Sunda. And I have magazine, Sundanese magazine here. Maybe you want to read this sometimes. I believe you will hear if you read this. Okay? Dizzy. Okay, as we know here are gathered in this room is to hear what will be delivered by His Excellency Fasil Hamanian. We're talking about education between Indonesia and Ukraine. I know currently Ukraine having conflict with Russia, but that is not the main topic of this discussion. Today we will have experience will delivered by His Excellency Fasil Hamanian. It's about education. So therefore, I would like to invite His Excellency Fasil Hamanian to come forward and sit next to me. Okay. Yeah, here. Okay. Yeah. Well, I have to admit, sir, a little bit nervous for me right now. It's kind of rare opportunities for me. Become moderator and have to use English. As you know, English is not my main language. So sometimes I hope today we are here as Mr. Pak Dekan said that we'll take some benefit from what the topic will be delivered by you. So time and mic is yours, sir. Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang saya hormati ketua-ketua, dekan-dekan, guru besar, para mahasiswa, saudara-saudariku, selamat pagi. Pagi, still masih pagi ya? Masih. Again, I have to apologize. Mohon maaf. I just still, I'm so ashamed of that. I still cannot, tak bisa berbahasa Indonesia dengan lancar.
Sama. Saya juga tidak bisa bahasa Inggris, Pak.
I'm sorry about that, but yes, as you mentioned, I would blame the Russian aggression against Ukraine that took my time.
Yes.
And consumed my time, so I cannot learn Bahasa in depth, so I cannot do this. I can give you a introduction in Chinese, Bahasa Cina, okay. Bahasa Inggris, okay. Bahasa Ukraina, Bahasa Rusia, it's okay. But
maybe you will show us a little bit Ukrainian language.
Ну, звичайно, можемо говорити українською мовою.
Yeah, I agree that.
当然，如果是有人懂中文，我可以讲中文，也可以，没问题。中文我讲得很流利的，说有人会懂中文吗？
Ada berapa orang di sini katanya?
Bahasa Tiongkok? No? Whatever, yeah. So we don't need to be nervous. It's um, I would not call it lecture, because I know proud Indonesian people don't want to be lectured, don't want to be
Taught by
teachered
someone.
and preachered. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would not call it lecture. I would call it communication.
Well, let's say it's some kind of sharing
Dialogue.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Sharing
Just
knowledge.
sharing knowledge, dialogue, communication, whatever
Yeah.
it is. Oh yeah. Well, should I address this camera, right? So, my dear friends, saudara-saudari, again, once again, selamat pagi, and I hope that the result of this communication will be a deeper understanding from your side of what's going on in general in this world, how different the world is, how complicated the world is. So I would not be I would not be concentrating on the on my speech. So I would propose this way. I will make a brief introduction of what I wanted to say, because I can speak like being a linguist and the historian. I can speak for hours. You will not stop me. Like I can speak all day long, right? About anything. But I would say that I'll make a brief introduction, and then I would be happy to answer the questions, because I would not even guess what questions you might have in your minds. What do you want to know? In the world of Indonesian education, I'm known like ask any question ambassador. So you can ask me any question about politics, about history, about the ideology, about present, about past, about future, about personal life, whatever you want. If I don't know how to answer, I will be frank with you. I say I don't know. So it's not. Don't worry. Don't hesitate. Please ask the questions, right? So I can start, right?
Right. Be my
Mulai.
guest.
Mulai. Kita
Yeah,
mulai.
mulai.
Ya. As my GPS always say, mari kita berangkat. Yeah. So yeah, berkenan. What is this? Semua sudah siap? Yeah, berkendaraan dengan aman. Yeah. So, should I stand? Maybe no.
Be my guest. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I can.
Yeah.
I think better. It will be better if I stand, because. No. I just feel more comfortable when standing. Oh, okay. If you prefer me sitting, I'll be sitting. Okay. Yeah. So, speaking about the education, first of all, education is a background for everything. We start to be educated since we were born. First days, as you know, Bernard Shaw, the great writer of England. There was a lady came to him and asked, "You know what? I need your advice, sir. I have a baby, and I would like to ask you, when should I start to educate her?" And he asked, "How old is your baby?" "Oh, she's very small, just 3 months." "Then you are 3 months late." So the education basically starts from the first days of a kid, when he was born, and this lasts forever. Chinese people say, 活到老学到老. So it means like you study all your life till you are old. So
Can
you never
repeat
stop.
Again?
Huh?
Can you repeat again in Chinese?
活到老学到老.
Ah, laya. Watch.
Yeah, so like this. So you live till old, you study till old.
Okay.
And it is very wise. That's why in Ukraine, yes, you are absolutely right. The education system in Ukraine is quite developed, and we pay a lot of attention to that. I guess over 60% of Ukrainians have higher education, so they graduated from the universities, have a bachelor's or master's degree, over 60%. So it's quite, I would say, proudly that we are quite an educated nation. And what is more important, we are ready to share our basics. We share our achievements with people around the globe. So again, it's true that the destination for education, like in Indonesia, yeah, it will more be like Australia, Korea, Japan, or the Western Europe. It's true, but it's not because we have poor education system. It's because the lack of knowledge. Quite recently, because before the Russian aggression in 21, we had around 100,000 foreign students in Ukraine. Out of this number, 30,000 from India. Just an example. 30,000 students from India. And a lot of people from Middle East, from Africa, from Asia, from China, from Iran, Morocco, I don't know where. And quite a lot of people from Europe also. So they study everything, starting from social, ilmu sosial, ilmu politik, hubungan bilateral, I don't know, art, history, sejarah, yeah, sastra, sejarah, languages, dancing, music, technical studies, engineering, engine building for aircrafts, aviation, maritime knowledge, etc., etc. So we have, and medicine, of course. So the education system in Ukraine is quite simple to understand. We have, we can provide basic knowledge for the students on this subject. Plus, then the division will go deep into this subject. So, what can I be proud of is that we have a lot of very unique faculties, very unique specialties and subjects. So people, for example, like construction of the engines for the big ships, for boats, for aircrafts, for helicopters, like that. That's a small example. And the priorities we give in our educational system is that it should be available for the people who don't have, who are not very rich. So it's accessible for the people in Ukraine and from around the world. That's why I do hope that as we're building up the relationship between the universities in Ukraine and in other countries, we start from this level. Normally, we just make a sort of, I don't know, MOU or agreements between the universities, and then it goes to the level of the state, so state-to-state cooperation. Then we have programs of exchanges of students and exchanges of docent, yeah. So the lecturers and teachers, yeah. Then we have the joint scientific programs, research programs. Then we have the perhaps we'll have the programs for joint diplomas, like you graduate from the faculty and you have 2 diplomas, one from Ukraine, one from Indonesia, or one from Ukraine, one from Canada. Doesn't matter. We have a lot of that. The education in Ukraine, I would say that it is accessible, as I say, and the quality of education is quite high. So we still care a lot and pay a lot of attention to the quality. So we will be proud and not be ashamed of our students around the globe. There's basically, I will sit rather, because I look at you like from up to down is. So basically that's a it's very easy to understand how to establish cooperation. So I do hope that one day we'll really launch this cooperation with your university, because it's it's famous, as well as we have some very famous universities in Ukraine. So we start from, hopefully, from primary exchange, and then I hope we'll develop our cooperation to the bigger scale. And it will not just be lecturing or studying, but just also the research, maybe joint research programs and everything. So inshallah, we'll start doing this in this year. And when the war is over in Ukraine and the situation is safe for the foreign students to come to attend. So we'll hope to see more Indonesian students studying in Ukraine. No doubts, I have no doubts that you will enjoy it. It's a good place to be, Ukraine. So what's important in the process of studying, in the process of education, for me, just another 5 minutes maybe. It's important for me when you, because I used to be a university teacher, like a docent, yeah, but different subjects. I was teaching the Chinese language and the translation and the interpretation, like simultaneous interpretation and all that things, theoretical grammar, theoretical, practical grammar, etc. But for me, it's important that kids are learning how to communicate properly, how to grab the knowledge, how to obtain the necessary knowledge. Because the task of the teachers, task of the professors and lecturers is not to influx the knowledge into your heads. They teach you how to study by yourself. They guide you, and then the main work is done by yourselves. Because no one can teach you anything. They can only guide you and give you the knowledge how to study. That's one thing. And second thing, teachers are teaching you how to think critically, how to dig down to the roots of the problem. It's endless realm of knowledge existing in this world. If you don't want, or you don't feel like that, you will never study in that direction. You will go to the other direction. So it's not possible within 5 years, just to teach you everything. But it's possible to teach you how to dig through mud, through ground, to dig to the gold hidden down there, so you cannot see. You dig and you find the diamonds and you find the gold down there. That's very important. Think critically. And third, it's very important to not to be influenced by, I would call it disinformation or propaganda, whatever you call it. Not to be influenced by the misleading knowledge, misleading theories, misleading, or you can call it conspirology, you can call it whatever it is. But for the people that will represent this country, Indonesia, in the world tomorrow, for the people that will build up the future of not just of your country but of the world, it's very important to understand how things are, and not just how they look or how they seem. That's why for the educational system and for an educational process, it's critically important not to be caught, not to be trapped by the disinformation, by the conspirology, by the misleading theories and misleading thoughts. Always think critically and never hesitate to ask the questions. I don't know. Again, I repeat, I'm ready to answer your questions now. Before that, I would just say that my background is very specific because unlike you, but like your ancestors, I lived in 2 different countries. First, I was a citizen of the Soviet Union, which is non-existent now, and then I became the citizen of Ukraine. So it's a very specific experience. I would never wish any one of you will experience this, because it's specific but not very pleasant experience. However, I'm happy that it went this way, not the other way. Because my ancestors were the citizens of like Austro-Hungarian Empire or of Poland, and then they became all of a sudden overnight became the citizens of the Soviet Union, which is bad direction. And I was luckier, so I I was like, what? I was 20 years old when the Soviet Union collapsed, and so I found myself in a new country, principally new country for any feeling or for any experience. And but this is positive in terms of finding your way through this world, realizing and understanding who you are, realizing and understanding what the world is and how the world can exist in this or that option, in this or that variation. So if you allow me now, I invite you to ask me questions. Any questions related to the bilaterals, related to Ukraine, related to history, related to anything, I would be happy to answer.
Okay, the time is up for you, sir.
Yeah.
So before we jump to the next session, which is question and answer, I mean, we do have Mr. Reza Sahir to give his short comment regarding to what you delivered just now. So I would like to invite Mr. Reza to come forward. Yeah, please, Mr. Reza.
Is it working? Okay. Your Excellency, Dr. Fasil Hamianin, I'm very honored to meet you in person today. Usually, we met in Jakarta for dinner with foreign ambassadors and also at specific conferences. Yeah, I'm very honored to know you in person today, sir. The card I have is Dr. Fasil Hamianin, Duta Besar Ukraina untuk Republik Indonesia. But after knowing you for less than half an hour, sir, I find that you are also a philosopher, you are a teacher, and from the way we interact with you, the way you advise our students, yeah, you are also our father, sir. Tepuk tangan, nak. Betul kan? This is rare, sir. And we are very honored to have you today. And from your explanation, it encouraged us to go deep here into the philosophy of education. Please, children, students, the future leaders of Indonesia, you'll become a father one day. You'll become a mother one day. Education starts in the first day of your kid's life. It goes forever. Thank you, Papa. And Ukraine is an advanced country. Education system over there is well developed, and more than 60% of the Ukrainian, they have advanced education. Is that correct, sir? So please understand. Compare what is happening in Ukraine and in Indonesia. That in order to develop, we will have to rely on human resources. Yeah? Please remember when Japan was totally destroyed by the US, they rely on the human resources. So we have an excellent time to dig from Pak Guru Fasil Hamianin, Bapak kita Fasil Hamianin. Yeah? Not only talking about the bilateral relations, but how to prepare us as a student, yeah, to become a professional, becoming someone like Bapak Dubes. You speak more than one language. English yes, Russian yes, Mandarin yes, and now Bahasa Indonesia and Bahasa Sunda. Yeah, the way Bapak responded to us with the first sentence he said was,
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. and then a bit of Arabic. Pak Dubes ini pembelajar. Ya. So I hope today's meeting is very important for us. And also there is an encouragement for unit to uni cooperation. Yeah. We need to nurture this kind of a cooperation. Yeah, Pak Dubes advise us from simple kind of cooperation into something real. Yeah, not just talking about we are planning to do cooperation with Ukraine University, but today we happen to have university professors, Bapak, and also the dean is here. The dean is the decision maker, Pak. His signature will mean a lot. So we will have to convince the dean for the future cooperation between Indonesia and Ukraine. Starts from here, Pak. Yes. Okay. If there is a term in the diplomatic world saying extraordinary and plenipotentiary ambassador, I think we have extraordinary and plenipotentiary. Yes, the dean, Pak. He is with us, Bapak. And then Pak Dubes advised us to be critical, yeah, and to be very careful with the news we have. And luckily for students of international relations, I think this session could become a primary source of information for us. Yeah? Who are studying Ukraine here? Anybody studying on the European affairs here? This is the best time. European affairs, yeah? Okay, you are studying the security of what is happening in Europe at this very moment. Security, what is happening in Ukraine. This is the very best time for you, my dear. I do not want to take your time. I think, allow me to appreciate this opportunity. And we are very honored to have not only ambassador, but we have a teacher, a philosopher, and also a father. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the kind words. I'm not as much of a philosopher. It just, the life made me a philosopher. Because, like, you know, as I repeat, I lived in 2 different countries. Now I'm married and I have 3 kids. And having kids make you a philosopher. That's true. And then if you are the teacher in the university, having like dozens and hundreds of kids make you a big philosopher. So I understand Pareza and Padekan. Yes, I understand this approach is true. But anyway, we're not just talking only just about European affairs. We're talking about global, because now this world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. When 100 years ago we could not imagine that now we'll have like mobile phones that will like allow you to reach any corner of the world within seconds and get the massive like huge amount of information like this, and you have to process it. Before that, you can receive the newspaper or letters that coming like with a delay of 1 month, and then you read something that happened 1 month ago and as a news, right? Now it's different. And following this trend of the information becoming flooding everywhere, the world is becoming smaller and faster, much faster. We have to filter, we have to be critical, we have to you know, in many countries, especially in the countries with authoritarian rule, with the dictatorships, you will understand. You will notice it if you just analyze superficially even what happens there. You will understand that it's the dictators would love the people to be undereducated for one simple reason: it's easy to manipulate the undereducated people with no education, and it's very difficult to manipulate the people who are well educated and have critical thinking. It's simple. So I'm really proud to work in your country, and I'm witnessing the democratic development, the democratic process in Indonesia, as I was witnessing the turn from the communist regime into democracy in Ukraine. And it's an outstanding experience. It's a wonderful process and wonderful feeling. So I'm really proud to be ambassador here in your country. And as every one of you, I'm watching the electoral process, the preparations, and You know what is good? What is great is whoever I ask, like who will be this and who will be that, which party will win, say, we don't know. And this is what we call democracy. We don't know. Who will be the next president of the United States? We don't know. But how about Russia? We know. We don't even call it like elections of the president. We call it the elections of Putin. It's simple, yeah. So this is the difference between this and that. So let me just invite everybody to ask the questions.
Oke.
Yeah.
Oke, mangga sekarang pada kesempatan saya memberikan kesempatan pada 3 penanya terlebih dahulu. Boleh bertanya bebas, tadi juga sudah disampaikan sama Bapak Duta Besar. You can ask anything, ya.
Absolutely anything, yeah.
Okay. Please, number 1 who have long hair, and the second is you, the third over there,
Yeah.
ladies.
Gender equality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it gender balance, yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay. Please mention your name and your department. Okay. Please.
Testing. Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for sharing your insights today. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ezra, and I'm a third-year student of International Relations in Universitas Pajajaran. Firstly, sir, I'd like to express my deepest condolences and sympathy for the Ukrainian people who are facing challenges right now, currently facing the Russian aggression. If I may say so, the Russian aggression, to me, and its justification of liberation is quite laughable for me. Because if they are claiming to liberate the regions of Donbass and Luhansk, why would they be attacking other regions? It's akin to Turkey invading other countries by justifying its claims of Ottoman regions in history. However, I digress. Sir, me along with my peers stand in solidarity with the Ukrainian people. I myself have been. May I sit down, sir? May I sit down while asking my question?
Yeah, don't stand up. Just sit and talk. Yeah.
Yeah, because my hair falls down if I stand up. Okay. Sir, I have personally been quite vocal in my attempts of sharing with my peers of the current condition in Ukraine, the history of the conflict and the suffering inflicted towards Ukrainian people, because as you said so yourself, there are a lot of misinformation. And I don't understand why there are quite a few pro-Russian sentiments in Indonesia, when it is clear, it's easy to see who are the aggressors here are. I do this, sir, because Indonesia has a commitment to freedom, as it is the first sentence in the opening of our constitution, that independence is the right of all nations, and therefore colonialism in the world must be abolished. Our proud nation, sir, also has a commitment to participate in implementing world order based on freedom, eternal peace, and social justice. My support and solidarity for the Ukrainian people is unconditional, because as citizens, as part of the same class, as the ones most heavily impacted by conflict, I will never turn my backs on my brothers and sisters wherever or whomever they are. However, sir, my support for the Ukrainian government is not without its reservations. I believe, as you said so yourself, it is important to critically examine policies, actions, and decisions made by any government. So will you please allow me to do so? As we all know, sir,
So
on
what is the
October
question?
7th, yes?
What is the question?
I haven't asked the question yet, sir. Sorry. As we all know, sir, on October 7th, Israel experienced an attack by Hamas, which caused the deaths of 695 Israeli citizens. Governments and world leaders around the world were quick to offer solidarity, as did President Zelensky, Ukraine's president. On Twitter, he was quick to say that Israel has the full right to defend itself against terror as any other state, and it's critical that the whole world responds to terror in a unified and principled manner. On the same tweet, President Zelensky also tells that Ukraine's position is crystal clear, that anyone who causes terror and death anywhere on the planet must be held accountable. And I agree completely with your president's statements, Your Excellency. That being said, Hamas may have executed the attack on October 7, 2023, but from my judgments, Israel has been the cause of terror and deaths for the Palestinian people since 1947. Israel's response to the recent attack has been brutal, and it has been indiscriminate. data from the Euromed monitor shows that since February 24, 2022, there has been more than 10,000 civilians killed in Ukraine, which has resulted in more than 16,000 sanctions towards Russia. Does anyone here know of the numbers of deaths in Gaza since October 7th? If I may say so, it has, from the Euromed, the data has been north of 30,000 lives and still rapidly increasing.
Just
Yes.
question because we
Well, yes, sorry, sir. Well,
really
the point that I would like
Make
to
a
ask
question.
is President Zelensky and the government of Ukraine has for many times showed support and solidarity for Israel. And even though, and I have seen that Ukraine has voted in the General Assembly in favor of condemning Israeli aggression, I have not seen a vocal or a public support for Palestine from the Ukrainian government. May I ask, because I would like to understand the nuance and the reasoning for Ukraine's position regarding not vocally supporting the Palestinian people. Thank you, sir.
It's a good question. Thank you very much for that. I would answer this in two parts. First part, being a historian, I would never make any assumption like of all of a sudden or based on the recent facts, because every situation, every war, every conflict have the background, historical background, ideological background, and it's also very dangerous and very subtle thing, because if we go deep into the history of whatever problem or whatever conflict, it can lead us to nowhere sometimes, because we can go back to where? Back to the Second World War, back to First World War, or back to the BC, like to the 3,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, where? So when we deal with the modern conflicts, whether they are in Africa, whether they are between like India and Pakistan, India and China, or elsewhere in the world, we should find the starting point. Yeah? So do we start from the 1945, end of the Second World War, or where? Yeah? That's one part of my answer. So to analyze anything, we should not just simply say that something happened, yeah, we condemn this and we support them. Doesn't work like that. Well, it works, unfortunately, but it shouldn't be like that. It should be more critical and more analytical. So people should understand what happened, in fact, right? So look at what happened in recent 80 years in this region. Middle East regulations, few wars between the Arab world and Israel, few wars. Now then the peace solutions, proposals, peace plans, two-state solution, dated of 1948, and the different one of 1967. Look at them. You will understand a lot. Second, it's very important, and it's painful for me personally. It's very important not to follow the double standards. I am the enemy of double standards, and very unfortunately, as I mentioned already, Ukraine was a very young democracy, and when we became independent from the Soviet Union, right? The mentality, the imperial mentality, Soviet mentality was deep in our minds, I'm like 52, right? So I was like 20 years old when the Soviet Union collapsed. But people were like 50 years old, like 60 years old, and they cannot get rid of this mentality at that time. That's why whatever happened in the world, it was a big war in Chechnya, when Russia literally killed hundreds of thousands of civilians, women and children, Muslims. They just destroyed them, murdered in cold blood. But what we were thinking about that, we didn't have enough information. I thought, these Chechen are terrorists. And Russia is doing the right thing, like a revenge for whatever they did for Russian citizens, for Russian civilians. We did not know. And to be honest, we did not want to know. Could we know? Yes, we could. But did we know? Did we want? No. Then the war in Georgia, attack of Russia into Georgia. Did we, well, were we concerned? Yes, we were concerned. But did it hurt? Not so much. Not for all of us. Did we know about the conflict, about the war in Palestine? We did. Was it a big concern of Ukraine? No. Like 20 years ago, 10 years ago? No. It was somewhere far away. If you look at the map of the world, every day something happens somewhere. It's Syria, it's Sudan, it's Somalia, everywhere something happens. Like Mali, like Central African Republic, like also in Asia. Something bad happens every single day. But are you all very much concerned? Don't think so. Because it's somewhere far away. Who cares? Yeah. Now, coming back to the Palestine and Ukrainian position. Now, for us, for Ukraine now, we became much more sensitive towards all these events that are happening, not just in Palestine, because we know how it feels being under bombardments for 2 years, being in winter time, in very cold season, without electricity, without heating, without water, without mobile connection, without anything. We know how it feels. That's why we became very sensitive towards the double standards, because we understand that since the beginning of the war, we still have the countries like dictatorships. They still say, well, it's not so easy to, well, it's complicated. Don't blame Russia because it's complicated. Yeah, and Crimea was not so easy. It's like background, historical, blah, 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 yeah? And I say, come on, guys, does it justify the killings of tens of thousands, hundreds of southern people? Does it justify the attacks on civilians? It does not. So this is the answer to your questions. Does anything justify the terrorist attack of Hamas onto Israel? Does not. Does anything justify the killing of tens of thousands of civilians by Israelis? It does not. So Ukraine basically, the position of Ukraine is very simple. No double standards. No double standards. Nothing can justify the killings of civilians. Nothing can justify this. So that's one thing. Second principle. We are standing on few nilai values, which are humanity, which is justice, which is human rights, equality, rule of law. This is things that are the basics for a human, for every human being. And if we treat any conflict, any problem existing in today's world based on these principles, they will just disappear. They will disappear. Because when we treat everything from the point of view of humanity and justice, there will be no bloodsheds and mass murders of the people. So we are standing on that. It's very important to understand. We, like at that time when Hamas attacked Israel, my president said, yes, we support the right of Israel to protect itself, protect the country, protect the civilians, right? But when the Israel attacked back, there was a back fight, right? But when the lot of korban appeared, like a lot of civilians just died, we cannot justify this, and we cannot support this, and we cannot say that this right or human or just. We cannot say that. But the third part of my answer to you, I will not be analyzing because it's a big story, right? Middle East situation in the Middle East is a big story, and it cannot be described or discussed within 10 minutes, within 1 hour, even within a day, right? It needs a lot of discussion, a lot of explanation, a lot of analysis. But what I would say is that we must not be like, as we say, as Chinese say, we cannot look at the problem with one eye. We cannot turn the blind eye to the problem, even one. Yeah, we look with open eyes. We treat the problem with open heart. This refers to the resolutions, UN resolutions. As you can remember, Ukraine voted in favor, but second resolution we abstained. Why? This is a question to all of you. You can analyze. I know why, but I would not answer it. But the hint is double standards. We are not justifying double standards in any way, because that's something that really it's very painful for us. And now Ukrainian people can feel the pain of Palestine. And you know what? If you look at the social media in Ukraine now, you'll find out that not just the Muslims of Ukraine, of which we have like 1.5 million, not they are crying and weeping and praying every day for Palestinian civilians, not only them, but Christians also. They pray and they cry and they shout out, help Palestine, help Palestinian civilians to survive. This is reality, right? For you as the future diplomats, politicians and everything, yeah? Just a little thought. I hope that in the world and global politics, the political factor, what we call politics, must not prevail over humanity, humanitarian factor. This is very important.
Okay, I think we got the point from you, sir.
And as we say, and as I used to say, it's you don't need to be a Palestinian to support Palestine. You don't need to be Ukrainians to support Ukraine. You need to be human. Full stop.
Okay, so let's say that not just only condemning here, condemning that, ya, Pak ya. Tidak hanya mengutuk atau condemning, tapi diperlukan.
I did not use the word condemnation to address. I used the word which really matter.
Yeah, regarding to his questions, he asked about why Ukraine does not condemn or anything, or what is the position of Ukraine due to the conflict of Palestine and Israel. So I say that it's not only about condemning, but what we have to do is analytical and critical to look at the problem, and then we can make a good statement from the regarding representing your country, right?
To be honest, if you look at the position of Israel towards Ukraine since 2 years, since the big aggression, we received no support from Israel at all. Nothing, zero. Not moral support, not financial, not technological support. Yeah, so. But it's not the point that we would say, they did not support us, that's why we will condemn them. No, it doesn't work like that. Ukraine was at fire and is at fire, is bleeding and burning. Still, when the big Gimpabumi happened in Turkey, we sent a big team of rescuers to Turkey, and we sent the humanitarian aid to Turkey to support them, because this is human. Simple. We need them too, but it's human. Ukrainian economy is very much damaged now, but still we send grains from our country to the countries that in need, to Ethiopia, to Yemen, to Somalia, to Kenya, Nigeria. Yeah, because it's human. Simple. Yeah. So we can raise and shout and condemn and everything, yes, but we can also express condolences and sympathy. This is also yes. Yeah, so we should be clear what's going on, and then you will not have. And what's more important, one thing is talking, another thing is doing. For example, the peace formula presented by President Zelensky, peace formula for Ukraine, it's very thoughtful. It's based on the UN Charter and UN resolutions. And it can be, as we mentioned, as we discussed, can be the good instrument of dealing with any wars and any conflicts, including the war in Palestine, including the Middle East regulation. It can be used, can be applied, because it's based on the values, principles, and the UN Charter.
Okay, thank you, sir. And then the next question, please. No, the man next to the long hair.
Don't forget about the ladies, right?
Oh yes.
Okay, firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Dwi, currently studying in International Relations in Universitas Pajajaran. And yeah, first thing first, I would like to thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for your comprehensive yet fun to understand, what do we call it, brief introduction. Yeah. So actually, I do have two questions on my mind. If I'm allowed, of course, I'll make it short, for sure. Nowadays in contemporary global politics or dynamics, cities, municipalities, or any other subnational level have been recognized as more significant actors with their capability to conduct international affairs through parallel diplomacy. And for Ukraine itself, correct me if I'm wrong, as an example of the output of the process that I've mentioned before, several of the local authorities have been maintaining twinning or sister city cooperation with various cities around the world, especially in Eastern Europe. So my question is, as an official representative of Kiev in Indonesia, how do you see the future of parallel diplomacy between local actors in such a city or any other subnational level in Indonesia and Ukraine? And is there any obstacles and challenges we might potentially face, especially with the regional instability that occurred until this very moment because of the Russia aggression, as we know? And what concrete steps can be taken collectively by both Ukraine and Indonesia, and as well as the subnational actors that may be engaged or involved in the process to tackle this issue and in order to actualize the cooperation between us, Indonesia and Ukraine? I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good question. It's a big concern of myself. How to develop the interregional cooperation? Yes, daerah to daerah, like city to city. Yeah, kota. I don't know, kabupaten, something. First, I would say about the obstacle, right? So the main obstacle here is the bureaucracy. Only this, because to formalize this sister cities or sister region. In Ukraine, we just need the decision of the local council. It's like one town or one region, the local council meets, yeah, let's go. They analyze the documents, say, yeah, let's do it. But for Indonesia, it's more complicated, much more complicated. So for Bandung, right, we have to have an approval of Wali Kota, then Gubernur, then it goes to the parliament, then it goes to Kemlu, and a lot of approvals. And if on one stage it's not approved, so it doesn't work. That's why we only have the one interregional relations officially, like sister cities. It's Kiev and Jakarta only. And it was quite recent. I think it was not long ago, established not long ago. And that's because it's daerah khusus, yeah? So they have special status, so they can, plus Ibu Kota, okay. However, I feel that it's not it's an obstacle, a formal one, but it's not the impediment, like legal impediment to develop this interregional cooperation. I think that the main way, I would say that there are three main directions, three main spheres, we can really perform and fulfill the cooperation between regions. One is education. It's very important. Just because you can, as a university, you can approve the relationship to establishment of relationship with the sister university. Yeah, this works. Second is cultural exchanges. I don't know, music, theater, performances, dancing, I don't know, ballet, opera, whatever. Exhibitions of the of art exhibitions, something. And third is business. So before the big war, I had meetings with few governors in Java, in Bali, few wali kota of different cities, and we just discussed very simple. Let's do it. For example, let's open rumah makan Indonesia di Ukraine, and vice versa here. The simplest way to do it: just open Cafe Jabar in very touristic, popular touristic destination of Ukraine, and this will be like a real place where people will go, and it will be very profitable, very nice. But then the war started, so we stopped this project. It was good. I think that so following these three directions, we can develop the interregional cooperation, and it works. It works, and I will not give up, because I think that still we have the room to find the ways to formalize relationship between kota or like province, yeah, between Ukraine and Indonesia. We have a lot of potential in that, and we have a lot of similarities. Like we have cities like that can be sister cities to Surabaya or Semarang, yeah, because like a big port, pelabuhan, big cities. We have the big industrial centers. We have a big cultural centers. Like for example, take Lviv or Chernovtsi and Yogyakarta, for example. And Bandung, Jabar is a big industrial potential with high tech, like leadership in high tech. I think in Indonesia. By the yeah. Because at that time, Pak Ridwan Kamil introduced a lot about Jabar. I say, oh my God, really? So, wow. And by the way, the population of Jabar is roughly equals to the population of Ukraine in general. 35 million, something like this. Yeah. So, this is the answer. Three mainstreams. We follow them, and then we'll gradually try to find the ways to formalize the relationship. It works. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, due to the limited time that we have, I only no. Yeah, well, the committee asked me that we only a bit time here, have a bit more time. I have to make a shorter time.
Yeah, but it's not a governor, but it's still.
It will take more than an hour. Yeah, from here to Bandung.
Okay, so we have at least 30 minutes more.
Okay, one more question. Okay, and the
Still have like 30
question
minutes.
will come from you, ladies, please. We have to go there.
Oh, sorry, 12:30 is no. No, not 12:30. Okay, so we start at 11:30. Yes. We still have take a few questions from ladies, yeah?
Thank you so much,
I'll
sir.
try to be brief.
Okay.
May I? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. My name is Wadoko Rahmatika. I'm from magister student from International Relation, Unpad. Actually, I've learned some research. I do some research about human security. Of course, I'm concerned about Russia-Ukraine conflict. And to the point, maybe because this we have a limited of time, so I will ask about: is there any constraint about economic, bilateral economic in Indonesia and Ukraine, especially in import and export in food supply? Because I was learned about geopolitics of food security, and I'm do some research about how the big economic impact of Ukraine food supply to Indonesia, and how far this impact to Indonesia. Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. Yesterday, I was present at the presentation annual briefing of Ibu Menlu, Buretno, and she mentioned that the main priority for Indonesian diplomacy is economic diplomacy, right? So for Ukraine, it's nearly the same. So we'll put rather a different order, but economic diplomacy is very important. It's crucial because, well, economy is the basis of everything, right? No economy, no money, no relations, no development, nothing. Yeah, it's all based on the finance. So before this big war, we had a turnover of roughly $1.3 billion. But unfortunately, this was my main concern when I came here. I discovered that it's 1.3 billion, not a small one, yeah, not so small, but it's just two positions mainly. Basically, it's from Ukraine it's gandum, from Indonesia it's palm oil. It was increasing, both gandum and palm oil was increasing in number, but it's just two positions. So when the war started, it dropped to zero. If it's like 20, 30, 50 big positions, then it will be a balance somehow. So we decrease this, but we can increase that. No, just dropped because the first month of war, we lost the opportunity, we lost the ability to export grains. All the ports were blocked, and before this, this grain initiative, grain corridor was opened. We could not export. And as I know, because I talked to the government people in Indonesia, the government of Indonesia required the stability of supplies. So if the supplies can be jeopardized by the logistics, we cannot do this. So that's why the Indonesian government took the decision to diversify but to make it stable. Yeah. So. Now the turnover between Ukraine and Indonesia is very low, like somewhere there, but we still export a lot of grains, right? So we still export grains, and a lot of Ukrainian grain still reaches Indonesia, but through the traders, through the third countries. It's basically for your information, I think that trade turnover in grains between Ukraine and Singapore has increased 10 times during the wartime, 10 times. But they don't consume, right? What they do, they sell. So basically, it works like that. Yeah. So we still have a lot of Ukrainian grains and everything delivered to Indonesia, but through the third countries, through the traders. So it's like that. And one of my main tasks as an ambassador was, when I arrived in 2021, was to diversify the supplies of goods from Ukraine. And of course, the task of the Indonesian ambassador is to diversify the goods from Indonesia, not just one position, palm oil, or maybe sedikit kopi, but not much. Yeah, it's very, very small. From Ukraine, it was gandum, then iron and steel, some minyak bunga matahari, so sedikit, yeah. So Ukraine cannot just export goods to Indonesia. I have a handful of technologies, beautiful high technologies that can be very useful in Indonesia, and I'm trying to propose it to the companies, to businesses, to government, that we can share technologies. We're not greedy, yeah. So Ukraine is willing to share the what we have. One small example: we can produce the biggest aircrafts in the world. We can produce the huge ships and the huge engines for the ocean ships, but we don't need them because we are a small country in the Black Sea, so we don't need but we can share it, right? So that's the difference. We can produce absolutely unique types of weapons, and we can share them. And there were some, like a lot of contracts, a lot of ideas, a lot of MOU signed before the war. Now it's stopped, but it will be. We'll relaunch it. We'll restart it when the war is over. So yeah, it's a big concern of us. But as every trade, every business, it requires two. It takes two to tango, you know this phrase. So it takes two to business. So you cannot do it unilaterally. You have to have partners. And at present, unfortunately, many Indonesian businesses, they feel like afraid. They feel unreliable. They feel they cannot do because we don't know. It's unstable, it's unreliable. Maybe something happens and we'll lose everything. So that's it. However, maybe this will open the eyes of Indonesian businessmen. A lot of European, American, Canadian, Japanese, Chinese companies are very active now in Ukraine, because as you're adults, you're grown-ups, you understand that war sometimes is the best time to start business. Unfortunately for us, but yeah, so it's true. In the times of challenges and calamities, sometimes it's really good time to start business because it might be mega profitable, extraordinarily profitable. So it's one again, I call upon the Indonesian businesses, have a look. Why Chinese businesses can invest in Ukraine in this time and Indonesians cannot? Why? We are open for discussion. We are open for cooperation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. The last one. You want more? Okay, Mr. Ambassador, one more question. Yeah, ladies. Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. I'm Risma from the master degree in major of government science. First thing first, it's an honor for me to meet you in a person, sir. Like what Mr. Reza said earlier, I think you are a good philosopher and motivator, because when you said that no one can teach you because every teacher only guides you, I feel very motivated and learn individually bit better and not depends on others. And as you said before, we can ask you about your personal experience, right? So I would like to ask you, what motivated you to become the ambassador like today? Thank you.
That's a very complicated question. About the teachers, about the experience, I would say, again, I just remember the good phrase from Confucius, that Confucius said, every time I meet 3 people on the road, at least 2 of them can be my teachers. So everyone you meet in your life, they can be your teachers. You learn something from everyone you meet. From my grandmother, for example, she was very undereducated because she grew up in these times of calamities, of wars and everything. She could write, but with many mistakes and things. She could read, but not that much. But I learned so much from her about the nature, about the philosophy of a simple people. So, yeah, you see, people are not inspired to become ambassadors. People can be inspired to become diplomats in general, because when you decide to become a military, like for example, yeah, you start from the ground level, like soldier, or I don't know who, like lieutenant, yeah, something, sergeant, and then of course your inspiration is to become a general, yeah, it's normal. Same with diplomats. Every diplomat who decided to be a diplomat, he, I would not say dream about becoming ambassador, but it's like a normal goal. You're a sportsman, naturally you would love to become an Olympic champion, yeah? You are a scholar, yeah, exactly. You want to become PhD and then professor and then academician. it's normal, right? So it's not about the inspiration of becoming ambassador. It's like a ambition, yeah. It's a very ambitious goal, yeah. But it's about how to become a good diplomat. If you have decided to become a diplomat, you have to cope with a range of challenges. And I would say that, okay, diplomats have diplomatic immunity, right? But in fact, diplomats are the most vulnerable people in every society. The most vulnerable.
What do you mean by vulnerable?
I mean that diplomats cannot speak of what they think. In many situations, you have to find the ways to express yourself without touching sensitive issues, without offending anyone, you just sometimes just keep silence. It's like, this good joke that diplomat is a person who thinks twice before saying nothing.
That's a lesson
before
from
keeping
you.
silence, yeah? So
Okay, good lesson.
think twice before saying nothing. So, and sometimes for some people, for some expressive people, for some like passionate people, it's a torture. While I want to express myself and I cannot, yeah. So people feel bad about that. And some people give up. Some people say, okay, I cannot be a diplomat. I would like to be a lecturer. I would like to be a political leader, yeah, but not a diplomat. Diplomats are limited in what they can say, what they cannot say, yeah. I don't have expertise in some spheres. I would not talk about that because if I now give a lecture about Palestine, right? People say, are you the ambassador of Palestine or ambassador of Ukraine in Palestine? Why you are talking about that? Yeah. You want to talk about China? I can talk a lot about China, but I don't. Why? I want to, but I cannot. Because we have the Ukrainian ambassador in China. And it's his responsibility to communicate. Yeah. If I say something, like do whatever, Chinese will say, why this ambassador is talking too much about China? We don't agree with what he says. He's like, it's offensive, blah, 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 yeah? So that's why I say diplomats are very vulnerable and limited in rights, right? So because of this. So if you have an inspiration to become diplomat, you analyze it carefully, all pro and contra, all benefits and all how to say what is the opposite for benefit? So yeah, all the challenges, all the traps here in this and that. And if you become a diplomat, if you deep in your heart you understand that it's yours, then it comes naturally that you develop, that you grow, and that you express yourself, and you achieve some gains. You achieve some results, right? And naturally, the leaders, the managers, the top politicians, governmental people, presidents, ministers, they will notice that, oh, she's doing well. Oh, look, she's like expressing well, and she's growing. Ah, good. Let's appoint her as ambassador. At some stage, that's how it works.
Okay, enough? Okay, now we come to the end of the session, sir. What? One more? Okay, one more. More ladies, yeah? Okay, the lady with glasses.
The other day we'll make online communication.
So thank you for the opportunity. My name is Shinas. First, I would like to say thank you for the insightful points and discussion so far. I hope there will be more beneficial cooperation between Universitas Pajajaran and also universities in Ukraine. So I am currently a doctoral student in social welfare here in Universitas Pajajaran. I was wondering whether there is opportunities on doing exchange program, especially as a doctoral program for example, through sandwich program or research program, and where can I find those informations and those opportunities? Do the embassy regularly update those informations, or should we look it up by ourselves from specific universities? Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. At present, as we all know, right, we are in this state of war, and unfortunately, we don't say that we don't accept the foreign students, but it's up to the foreign students whether to go to Ukraine to study or not, because it's some people feel it's dangerous, and the security issues are very important. I have 3 students in my family, so my 2 daughters and son, they're all students, and they all study in Kiev, in Ukraine, in universities. Most of the subjects now it's online, so it's easy. And Ukraine is like, I would say, it's one of the most advanced countries in terms of software, in terms of IT and online studies. Since the COVID, the whole educational system of Ukraine switched into online regime. So we are doing extremely well in online, because after the COVID ended, like basically, yeah. So pupil, murid, and mahasiswa came back to schools and universities. They discovered the results, the level of the education, yeah. The results they perform during the tests and exams are much better than before. So basically, they say, okay, why bother going to schools? Like, let's do it online. Go on. So we have this system. We do not update now at present because of the war. We do not do this, and we do not recommend. We do not recommend. We just say, it's up to you to decide. If we recommend, you go there, whatever happens, you will blame me, right? So it's up to people to decide whether to do or not. But we used to have, and we still have actually, the exchanges programs on all levels. It's on the student level, on the bachelor, masters, and on the PhD and up. We have the exchanges between the academicians, researchers, scholars, like pengajar, dosen, yeah. So all levels. We have the, as I mentioned, we have the double diploma and triple diploma programs. For example, for some subjects, I started this personally myself with universities in China. So we have normally for bachelors is 4 years, right? They study 5 years and a half, but they have diploma of Ukraine, of China, and Canada. So 3 diplomas, and it's amazing. For engineer, shipbuilding engineer, it's very good, right? It's just an example, right? And we have, of course, the social sciences and all sorts of exchanges programs about that. And not just exchanges, we can receive the foreign students, foreign researchers. Like you have master's degree, you can apply for PhD in Ukrainian university, English language, and I mean the price is really reasonable. You will be surprised. I would say that it could be the level of Indonesian universities, so it's not a big burden, but the quality of education is very good, and life, social security, standards of life, quality of life is very high in Ukraine. So if we don't forget about the war, so we'll resume the educational programs. Information dissemination, on our website, on our social media, but we need to have the situation stabilized. We need to put the war to an end. After that, we'll restart everything.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now we really come to the end of time. Okay, before we close this session, I would like to give a chance to Mr. Reza to give his very short comment and short conclusion, please. In bahasa.
Yang mulia, Bapak Duta Besar, in bahasa ya. Saya sangat tersentuh melihat apa yang terjadi di negeri Bapak dan juga potensi yang sangat besar bagi Indonesia. Saya sangat kagum dengan tingkat pendidikan masyarakat Bapak, tingkat kemajuan teknologi di negara Bapak, dan juga tingkat kemajuan ilmu pengetahuan di negara Bapak. Saya juga kagum ternyata daya juang masyarakat untuk terus maju itu sangat besar sekali. Dan ternyata dengan berjalannya perang ini, terlihat banyak potensi yang sebenarnya bisa digunakan oleh Indonesia. Saya melihat rasa persaudaraan yang sangat tinggi dari pihak Ukraina. Beliau adalah duta besar mewakili negara, bangsa, rakyat, dan juga semangat persaudaraan dari Ukraina terhadap Indonesia. Kita tepuk tangan dulu deh. Jadi dengan semangat persaudaraan yang tinggi ini, saya pikir sudah terbuka ruang bagi aktor-aktor di Indonesia, negara, provinsi, kota, untuk menjalin hubungan dengan Ukraina. Tapi Ukraina adalah bangsa yang tidak senang dengan hal-hal yang prosedural. Ya Pak Dekan, prosedural. Jadi jangan, kalau berhubungan dengan Ukraina, janganlah kita bermain prosedural. Kita langsung sajalah, apa yang kita bisa jual, apa yang kita bisa beli ya Pak ya. Kemudian apa yang kita bisa pelajari. Standar Ukraina dengan Eropa itu enggak kalah, sama. Jadi Indonesia, pemerintah, dunia usaha, kampus, jangan lagi-lagi berpikir memorandum of understanding ya Pak ya, memorandum of action. Saatnya yang tepat, kita siapkan semua langkah-langkah dan begitu keluarga kita, Bapak Duta Besar mengatakan jalan, langsung jalan ya Pak ya. Terima kasih Bapak, terima kasih. Jalan.
Baik. Saya rasa, saya percaya di sini juga masih banyak sebenarnya pertanyaan-pertanyaan Pak. Itu saya juga sama menggunakan bahasa Indonesia dengan Pak Reza ya Pak ya, supaya tidak belepotan. Belepotan apa ya bahasa Inggrisnya ya? Apa ya? Gitu. Jadi sekali lagi saya mewakili fakultas barangkali mengucapkan terima kasih atas apa yang telah disampaikan oleh Pak Dubes, atau saya panggil Kang Dubes, Akang Dubes ya, Kang ya. Itu hatur nuhun. Saya juga ucapkan terima kasih pada audiens yang sudah semangat dan memberikan perhatian yang serius terhadap apa yang disampaikan oleh Pak atau Kang Dubes ini. Sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih. Mari kita beri tepuk tangan yang meriah.
Okay, I will invite Pak Dekan for give the souvenir to our Excellencies Ambassador of Ukraine. I invite Pak Dekan to the stage. Okay, we have give applause. Big applause, please. Thank you so much.
Okay, I have a little gift for the faculty, for Bapak Dekan. It's related very closely to not just to the education, not just to the culture and civilization, but also to the bilateral cooperation. It's one of examples of what we did quite recently. This is a very recent masterpiece, I would say. The book translated from Indonesian into Ukrainian and printed in 2 languages. So this side will have Bahasa, this have Ukrainian. And this is the book by Jumanjaya, Aku berdasarkan perjalanan hidup dan karya penyair Khairil Anwar. So this is the first book in the history of our bilateral relations translated full book, not just abstract or some point, into Ukrainian, Bahasa Ukraina. So I present this to your library, Vatican. And the second one is just a little gift, because I know orang Jabar, orang Sunda, orang Pajajaran, ya, suka minum kopi dan teh. So this is like for, it's a mug, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kemlu Ukraina. It's our logo, and the other way is Crimea is Ukraine. Just a reminder, we are as you might know, Crimea is the homeland for the majority of Ukrainian Muslim people. So, masyarakat Muslim, umat Muslim dari Crimea, main majority of them. Yeah. And the last one, may I ask the students who asked the question to stand up? I'll prepare a little token of appreciation.
The student who asked, please stand up and come to the front, to the stage, please. Oh. Okay, I invite all the lecturer for a photo session in front of the stage. The first is Mr. Gilang and Mr. Reza and also Prof. Ida. And all participants to us. Yeah. Okay, lead by Mr. Imam. Okay, I invite all the lecturer, please, in front of the stage to join the photo session. Have a big smile, please. You can wave to the camera, please. You can wave to the camera, say bye-bye. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, now we take the photo with all audience. All audience stand up, please. Oh, okay. So we invite all the lecturer to get closer to the Mr. Ambassador in the front of the row. Okay. Ya, teman-teman bisa lebih mendekat mungkin ya. Bisa lebih mendekat ke tengah. Ya, bisa lebih mendekat ke tengah. Merapat juga, ya. Thank you so much for all participants and for all lecturers who attends this event. Thank you so much for insightful discussion for Mr. Ambassador and Mr. Reza, and also our